Chris. Number 15, the approval of establishing mandatory training for the planning board, zoning board of appeals, and the minimum attendance requirements for the planning board. Jessica?
As some of you know, I'm liaison for the planning board, and Chairman Mark Marzullo undertook the task of developing some training requirements for planning board members. He involved the ZBA on this, and they thought that they would also like to be involved in having a minimum requirement for training. So this is a resolution to establish these training requirements for planning board and ZBA members. Sherry? It's a lot to read, yeah. Essentially, it is that pursuant to section, Town Law Section 267 and 271, all planning board and ZBA appeals members shall be required to complete at least 4 hours of suitable training per year. The authority to determine the training is designated or delegated by the town board and the respective planning and zoning board chairs, who shall note annually in board minutes the selected training. And then the third item goes on to define how that training requirement could be satisfied, by attending conferences, seminars, workshops, participating online, attending college courses, reading journal articles, other educational activities, etc. A record of annual completion of training will be maintained by the town clerk, and a copy provided to the town board prior to considering a planning board or zoning board member reappointment. Suitable training in excess of 4 hours per year may be accumulated and carried over into the succeeding year for the purpose of satisfying these training requirements. So this was presented by, as I said, by Mark Marzullo as chair of the planning board for consideration of the town board members to establish this requirement of planning board and ZBA members. Is Gary Natali here? No? Okay. So that is the proposal.
That portion of it is for the training, and then we have the...
Yeah, we have a second one, which we'll go into. Are there any questions for Mark Marzullo, who is here to answer questions?
I think we already have that in the town ordinance on attendance. We put that in several years ago.
This is training.
This is just start with training.
This is training.
Training right now. We haven't done the attendance.
But we can put that in 4 years because it's state mandated. So,
Mark is here too.
Yeah, I believe what was done 4 years ago was the planning board adopted minimum standards for attendance. They don't have that authority. It's the town board that has to.
I know we did that several years ago for the zoning board.
Attendance or training?
Both, attendance and training, because we were getting people that were going to Florida for 4 months, and we didn't have people on make the quorum for the meeting. So I know it was done for the zoning board 7, 8 years ago.
I think the point was, though, that it was done within the boards and not by the town board.
Well, it was state mandated, and it was brought up by the town boards. I'm sure it's in the minutes, at least for the zoning board, 7 or 8 years ago.
Will it hurt to?
No, that's fine.
To reissue it?
No, that's fine, but I'm just saying that.
The state does mandate the 4 hours for both boards.
Yes.
But they recommend that the town board clarify what's acceptable training and how you monitor it. And that's what this does. I read back 3 or 4 years of minutes, and I didn't see anything on training.
Well, I know it was when I was chairman of the zoning board. It was quite a while ago.
Yeah. What got me interested in this is I found that the planning board had adopted a resolution for the minimum standards of attendance, and they don't have that authority. So that's why I brought it back to my members, brought it to Gary Natali, and that's why we're doing it to you tonight. And so I thought while we were doing the attendance requirement, we might as well clarify the training.
Okay, that's good.
And I think another point, Vern, is, and the question I have is basically we're just reiterating Town Law 267 7A, which says, that state law has been adopted, training and attendance requirements, which the language in this resolution, I think, is just about identical to 267-7A, which has already been adopted by the state.
The 4 hours is, they don't get into the, what they call acceptable training. They say that the town board should make that clarification. What you're reading came from the New York Training Federation. I got that.
Well, I think the law says, actually the law is a little bit different. It says training may be provided in a variety of formats, including but not limited to electronic media, video, distance learning, training, classroom training, and whatnot. So it's essentially the same.
Yeah, I agree.
And it allows this carryover of the 4 hours that members are required. Are in the state law says you can carry them over. This says you can also carry them over also.
That's correct.
It sounds like this is a little bit more,
Clarifies it.
yeah.
Well, it's fine to put it in. You know.
And I think it ties these completion of training requirements to reappointment. And I'm not sure that that was there before, or is it in the law?
Needs updating.
That is part of the consideration for reappointments. Section 7A(b) of that provision of the town law says to be eligible for reappointment to such board, such member shall have completed the training promoted by the town pursuant to the subdivision, is in essence completing the 4 hours. It's just, we're reiterating the state law.
That's right.
Right. Adopting it, so to speak, at the
And
time.
how-
Which has to be abided by anyway.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll make a motion to accept the resolution for the mandatory training and planning board and zoning board of appeals.
Second.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Ms. Zambrano?
Yes.
Mr. Corral?
Yes.
Ms. Boyke?
Yes.
Okay, the second piece of this, as was alluded to a minute ago, is the minimum attendance requirement for the planning board. Each part of the resolution says that each board member, this is planning board member, in order to remain in good standing, shall attend at least 6 out of the last 8 meetings at any given time. And this doesn't, I think you all know that there are work sessions, pre-agenda meetings, that are held for the planning board routinely, but those are not included as part of this requirement. Each board member shall make or take all reasonable efforts to inform the chairman or the zoning office of any meeting he or she will be unable to attend. If a board member fails to meet the minimum attendance requirements, the chairman of the board may make a recommendation to the town board to remove the member for non-compliance. And then it also addresses that ad hoc members are only asked to be in attendance when deemed necessary by the chairman and is therefore exempt from the minimum attendance requirements. There was a situation last year or two in which a planning board member missed a number of meetings. And there wasn't any teeth by which to take action. So I think that this is a good resolution to implement.
Discussion?
I just have a question, Mark. Do you know, and you don't want to speak for, this just applies to your board, not the ZBA, correct?
That's correct. I did share it with Gary Natalia, the chairman of the zoning board. He didn't think that they really had a problem with attendance. We don't either. And this is not mandated by the state, although they say they can mandate it. But my board, really, they wanted it. They wanted to know what the requirements would be.
Okay. And I think this is the issue you're speaking of. Several years ago, the planning board adopted their own resolution similar, which real essentially there was no authority to do that. The town board has to.
That's right.
I didn't see and this is something the board considers, a date for this to commence, effective today, effective July 1st, to give, obviously it hasn't been an issue, but just so people could have notice, your members could have notice.
Yeah, if you want to make it the first of the month, that would be fine. first.
Effective June 1st?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the minimum attendance requirements for the planning board with an effective date of June 1st, 2010.
Second.
Mr. Conway?
Yes.
Mr. Jennings?
Yes.
Ms. Zambrano?
Yes.
Mr. Corral?
Yes.
Ms. Boyke?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mark.
Um,